Welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, helping you get to your onward journey. A friendly service that helps you get from A to B, or probably nowhere at all.
Oh, blimey, I'm knackered. It's the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. I'm your host, James, and I'm very worn out from going to Getz. And with me, I found him. He was, oh, you wouldn't believe where he was. What were you doing under that thimble, hey? It's Sam.
I was like, where's he going with this? Where is he going with this? Yeah. Call me Fievel? Is that's the little mouse, isn't it? Fievel? Fievel?
I have no idea. Usually I go with Bilbo or Sam, Frodo, some sort of name like that for you, because I understand those references.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll take those references. um, but yeah, I'm here. Hi everyone.
You're back. You're back. And we found you wandering around Getz. Anyway, you got lost, and we told you to go to the front desk and ask for them to call out for the Merp family, and we came and picked you up. And then we had a lovely, lovely day out, didn't we?
Would Mr. and Mrs. Merp please report to the front desk? That's Mr. and Mrs. Merp to the front desk. And then you and Tom came and picked me up
That's it.
with Uncle
Yeah.
Steve in tow.
Uncle Steve and Auntie Lucy.
Yeah, but no,
So that's,
it was
that's
a
Charlie.
good day.
Charlie mistook them for being a married couple, which was amusing.
Yeah, that was what definitely one of the highlights of Gets. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. I say, I don't know, knackering, wasn't it? Busy old day. It was a very long old, especially when we decided to go out afterwards. Because obviously getting up too early to go there because the 9:30 start, and then wandering, walking around all day, and then going out afterwards. I'm just not young enough to do that anymore.
I don't think any of us are. I mean, I didn't even make it out the full time with you guys.
We didn't even factor in a nap in that, did we?
No, but then it was that thing of I was also very hungry, and I was like, and I knew if I went back to my hotel room, you wouldn't see me. So I was like, I can't do it.
Okay, there we are. Yes, it was good, wasn't it? There was some lovely layouts there. There were lots of lovely people to meet. We found the owner of the Merp dress.
We did. So if you didn't know, I can't remember if we talked about it on the show, but there was somebody purchased a Merp dress, and we were completely confused because it's that sort of thing of it's a high end item, and we hadn't seen anyone post about it on Instagram. And as we were walking around, people said to us, "Have you seen the person in the Merp dress?" And we said, "What? No." And we ended up trying our hardest to hunt them down. But Steve and Jill of Marathon Online Podium Street, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Marathon Line underscore Podium Street, are the official owners of the first ever Merp dress. So we did actually get to find them. And that for me was definitely a highlight of the day.
Yeah, so very cool. Yeah, a very standout dress, and obviously they are available. If you want one for yourself or a spouse. Yeah, from our Redbubble shop. Lots of other things too: t-shirts, bucket hats, all sorts of garish items, really.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. And if you, yeah, we haven't increased the price yet because I genuinely forgot about the price increase until James just said that. And I went, oh, wait, I was meant to increase the price on that.
And there you go, ADHD discount still going.
But you know, I said this to my wife asked me, she was like, was it worth it? And to be honest, it did feel like any normal show to me. I didn't feel like there was anything sort of out of the ordinary that made it super, super special. But for me, it was the going, first of all, it's the first time this year that you and I have been able to actually hang out, and neither of us have just come off a night shift. It was just nice to hang out with me, you, Steve, Tom, Lucy, and other people who sort of came and went throughout the day. It was, for me, it was the social aspect of it was incredible. And from the podcast side of it, I said to you, I was a little bit overwhelmed in a good way by how many people said about the podcast, came up, said hello, and all that sort of stuff. And it was just so nice. I think that for me was the thing about this show that made it special, not necessarily the show itself. And that's not saying anything bad because the show was a good show, but I didn't feel it had anything in particular that made it stand out to the other shows, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, he did have the awards at the end, which was a bit different.
I,
I mean, me and Steve snuck in. We were uninvited. We weren't down for anything, but we came anyway.
yeah, I saw people saying like because Chris from Model U, he had to sneak in with like a blue wristband, yet we just managed to saunter in no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, you would have thought you'd been invited. You were nominated, as was, Tom, who, congratulations, came third in Specialist Retailer of the Year.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah,
and for me that was something that I felt what they haven't posted online is they did actually do the first, second, and third place for each of the categories, and I don't know if I didn't know that that was a thing until we obviously went to the show, and the absolute roar that not just us but the people around us gave when Tom got nominated as the third place position. And you can watch certain videos from the event back and you can hear how big the roar of the crowd is when Tom's name gets mentioned. I think that's because Tom it is just Tom and Kirsty Ann doing all of it. So I mean, Model U are also a very small company. They came second, so big congrats to them as well. And West Hill Wagon Works
yeah,
are such a big company now. You almost expect it, but it was so nice to hear his name said out loud. And I think anybody who
yeah,
watches that particular part of the awards back can hear how big the roar in that room was when his name got said.
yeah. I don't know who got the bigger roar. Was it Tom for coming third, or was it Charlie for winning both YouTube awards?
what what was funny was as he went up for his first award, he started coming back, and you heard quite a few people go, "You may as well stay up there, mate." Because I think the thing is I don't think anyone was under the impression he wasn't going to win. And congratulations to him for winning. He does a lot. Like he puts out a video every other week. Like, and there's a lot of people, myself included, who don't do that. I think the awards is a nice thing. Being there as
Yeah.
almost an outsider to it was really interesting to sort of see people's reactions to certain things. Um,
It was. It was. I've been a bit of a fly on the wall in there, and yeah. But I think all the awards were well deserved. I think the craziest one was how close the Cavalex and Acura scale for locomotive of the year was. I think it was 100 votes in it,
yeah,
which was
it was.
crazy.
It wasn't a lot, was
Crazy.
it? And they even made
No.
a point of saying it. And I think that's the bit where it goes to show not only was the Class 60 wanted, so I take my voice back because when the Class 60 was announced earlier in the year, or even the end of last year, I sort of went on this. Well, is we're getting Hornby, Cavalex, Curascale are like doing these things, and it goes to show how impressive it was on the grand scale for the hobby that there was such a close vote in between it for the two of them.
Yeah. Do you know what would be funnier? If the Hornby Class 60 had come third.
That would have been funny as well. But yeah, it obviously Cav and Alex previously coming on the show as well, which was great, and getting to meet them at the show was also really nice because we got to have a good chat with them, and also Ben and Simon and Mike from Revolution Trains as well. We got to sit and have a chat with them, which was also really nice. And I think, like I say, the social part of the hobby, which I don't always get to do when I work at these shows, was massive for me. And I think that was my big part of this show was I got to talk to people who I don't usually get to talk to, or people who I don't usually get to see. Uh,
Yeah,
and
it was great, wasn't it? It was because we bumped into lots of faces that we've had discussions with back coming on the podcast or have had on the podcast. So you put faces to voices kind of thing. So we met Jenny, we met Dawn. We went. Obviously, we met Charlie. Charlie was lovely to meet, and as you say, we got to meet Cav and Alex, the team at Revolution Trains, and seeing that 009 model that they're doing the Vela Rydal locomotive. I can't wait for one of them. That looks fabulous.
yeah, they did look very nice. And the fact that they're doing it in the BR blue as well was incredible to me.
Yeah, I think they are. They haven't decided, have they? They say it's down to Model Rail and the Vela Rydal to decide which liveries. Because I'm hoping they're going to do Prince of Wales in that striking yellow livery it wore, I think, around in the 70s. But
Mm.
we're just
I,
waiting and seeing on that one.
I tell you what, this show did do for me. It rekindled my love of 009. There was quite a few 009 layouts in the balcony areas, and that little Sodor Railway layout, that was beautiful. That little Peter Sam that was going round was, I mean, all of the narrow gauge layouts there were fantastic. And I know Steve at the point of recording, he's now started a 009 project that he's going to do. Um, I did, I held in my hands the Talaclin coaches at Tony's Trains, and I nearly purchased them, but I couldn't validate buying them right now. But it seeing Camelot and seeing the new TT stuff running around is great, and I think that's the thing for me that was the sort of missing in terms of there wasn't a big TT layout, and that's because there's no real big TT layouts out on the circuit at the moment. But the 009 stuff that was running around really gave me that sort of narrow gauge sort of rejuvenation hobby wise. I've not stopped thinking about it. I mean, I've also been finally started doing some hobby in terms of um, painting some of the scenics for my TT layouts. I don't think that I'm abandoning it, and everyone's going to start saying that I'm changing gauges again. But my love of
That's it.
009.
It's fine, Sam. Just drop the TT and just do the 009. It's absolutely fine. I've got to work on mine now because Ford Din Rid it's been invited to an exhibition next year. So now I've got to get it working again. So
was was this Chatham?
no, I haven't had anything about that one. This is the Oxfordshire narrow gauge modelers. Potential interest of going to that one in Stevington, just outside of Didcot next year.
Oh, because
Yeah.
I was sat talking to James about getting Ford Din Rid at Chatham next year as well. So if you're planning on coming on to Chatham, and I'm really trying my hardest to pronounce it correctly. That's my promise for the year. Um, it, I think getting both of us at Chatham would be great because Tom's wants to go back. Steve wants to go again next year. I think we even maybe talk Neil into maybe getting little layers to go down there as well. I just need to convince Danny that if he's going to take his stuff out on the circuit next year, that's the show to do it on.
I always think Ford Din Rid I might get bored having it out all day, or a weekend. Whereas my current one I'm working on, I think it's a bit more interesting, but it's not really in a state to be taken to an exhibition at the moment.
I think the
A
thing
lot of
with
shop.
with Ford and Rid is you could leave stuff running on it and you could talk to people. You've got that Joseph said about it when he does shows. It's the ability to you can have conversations with people whilst having things running around on Ford and Ridge. You can have just one thing going round and round, or you can chop and change things over. I think that's one of the benefits of Ford and Rid for you is that you can actually talk to people whilst it's running.
Talk to people. Yeah.
This is
And, yeah, I think it was a good day out. Or there's some great layouts. I think Eric at Underground Eric, his layout, Heffield Road won the layout of the exhibition.
yep.
Um, which probably, I mean, there's some great layouts there, but Eric's was, I mean, it's mass. Considering what started out as a little station in his bedroom, his spare room, to what went into the log cabin to the size that it is now, and then he's got all those working cars on it as well. I think it was the working cars that probably won it because I think I watched the cars more than I did the trains on its layout. But I think it was well deserved. But obviously there was some other great layouts there, like Grantham, the Streamliner Years. Is if you haven't seen it, it's a fantastic layout. So beautifully detailed, like of linear in the 1930s, and that's a great layout as well. Um, yeah, there was some wonderful layouts there. Someone said it before. I can't remember who I was talking to. Mike that well, Hall Magazine. I mean, he goes out and picks these layouts for the exhibition, so he goes out of his way to find like interesting and different layouts, and he'll bring stuff from like the far corners of the country into Milton Keynes. So it'd be something that if you live in this area, you'd be like, oh, I've seen them all before because they're on a similar circuit. You'll find stuff that you haven't seen and bring it in, so you'll get to see that. So yeah, it was a fun day out, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, there was a few announcements there of new products. Shall we talk about them?
Yeah, let's go for it.
News-wise. Yeah, right then. They had mentioned it. Now this is odd because I think they mentioned it last year in last summer's announcements with Hornby, but they dropped a hint that they were going to be doing something with Drax after they'd announced the return of their hopper wagons. And then we waited with bated breath, assuming that the gold hopper wagon would appear at some point. But it was a bit of a wait. But yeah, they've announced that they are indeed working with Drax and doing the celebratory. I think it's 50 years of Drax, or whatever. Gold liveried hopper biomass wagon, and to go with it, the GBRF Class 66. This would be the railroad range Class 66 in the gold livery. So those were announced on the weekend. So anyone who's got Modern Image Model and wants to add that to their collection, that's available. Neil from the Little Layouts Company and he's got a brand new product, hasn't he, Sam?
He has indeed. It is a. I don't want to oversimplify it to take away from what it actually is, but it is a. It is a. I was about to call it a mood lighting rig, but it's not. It's It's sort of like a day and night cycle rig that clips onto your layout. You plug in the wires, they go off to the LED strip, and it effectively does the sunrise during the day, then into sunset before going into nighttime. And as the sun sets, the lamps or the lights in the yard then come on to give you the sort of the dim, moody sort of look. And it is. He said about how the cycle that it was on was sort of like a 5 minute cycle. And we stood by there for quite a bit. In fact, that's where we first decided to go. As soon as we walked into the hall, we wanted to go see Neil. And just watching, he had his O gauge layout with OH shunters and stuff on there, and just watching the lights sort of go up and go down and all that sort of stuff around it. And it did look really nice, and it did really set the mood on that layout as well.
Yeah, it's a very clever piece of kit. There's a little timer switch that you can do it manually, or you can plug it into a computer, and it will work with fruit-based computers, as Charlie says. So they have considered that as well, because I was sort of asking, well, I've only got Apple products. So it's like, yeah, no, it works with that. It's quite simple when you plug it in to use the program and to set the timings on it as well. And the other advantage of this is because it is essentially the strips of LEDs that you could run along the top of the layout, but it also has been tested out to be put around a room, so you can actually just change the whole lighting in the room rather than just what's over the layout.
Yeah.
So you can have that as your lighting rig, and again, it will. I asked about the size of my room, which is about 8 foot by 20 feet, and they said, yeah, that would easily light it up and do the day night lighting for you. So yeah, it's a cool little product.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it really, really is atmospheric. And what they're doing as well at the moment is they're doing the show price that they were doing at Getz. They're doing the actual unit at the show price for the next week, maybe 2 weeks. I double check it, but effectively they're doing it at the show price for the sort of first week of it being out, sort of thing. So hopefully, by the time this episode goes out, it'll still be at that very good price.
Yes, yeah. Neil's website, isn't it, on the Little Layout Company?
The Little Layout Company. And it's called the MLC unit as well. So that's Mike Lima Charlie unit.
Other news. Is there someone else that we know that's got some products coming?
Yeah, big man himself, Tom from Buggles Kelly, is bringing out 6 new wagons. Now, this might be a little bit of a fib because they're actually 3 different wagons, but they're across N gauge and double O gauge. Tom's going to be bringing out a Northwestern gunpowder van, which is my favorite. And if you zoom in on the picture, you'll see why. Also, a Northwestern coal truck, which is in this very nice sort of slate grey color, which really resembles the feel of the troublesome trucks from the Thomas TV series and stuff like that, just minus the faces. And then also a W.D. Audrey or a Reverend Audrey.
It's A.W. Dry, private owner wagon. Yes.
I'm glad you know this because, but it is in a very stunning sort of like baby blue color as well, which I think is quite eye catching.
It's a very nice color. Island of Man blue, I think maybe a way to describe it.
Okay.
Don't want to use any terms here. But yeah, there are some great little wagons added to the collection. He's obviously over the years, Tom has produced several NW branded wagons, and has done the previous AW Dry private owner wagon, which was in a brown livery. So this is a lovely blue one to go with it. I know in the past he's done cattle vans, he's done coal trucks, he's done vans, he's done the fish vans. So yeah, these are just more to add to the collection. Which I gotta be honest, I always tried to resist, but as soon as you've done the fish vans, I bought a few of them, and now I just feel like I need to buy a few more. I'm hoping he'll take up my idea of what I suggested for something else he could do, but we'll see on that one. Because I think I thought it was a cool idea. I mean, he thought it was a cool idea too, and then I spoke to him and he went, "Oh, I forgot about that." I don't know if he thought it was that cool, but there we are. We'll see. But yeah, but they're also for the first time they're coming in a different scale, aren't they?
They are indeed. They're coming in N scale as well.
There you go. Yeah, Northwestern branded wagons in Engage for the first time. For those of you who have smaller engines based on a particular railway, I suppose.
It is worth mentioning that they are £25 each, or you can buy all three designs for £66 as well.
Be good because I bought 3 wagons today, and they cost me a lot more than that.
Yeah, there you go.
But they were out of stock everywhere, and Rails said, "Well, we got these back in stock. Where did you get them from? I want those liveries. I've been looking for them." Now, Sam, the other thing we need to talk about before we go into our main discussion of the week is our charity raffle. How are we getting on with our charity raffle?
Charity waffle. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry, we're on a
I
time.
do it a bit Jonathan Ross then.
Ah, anyway, yes, our charity raffle. You guys have done an absolutely outstanding job. Those of you listening at home who have donated, thank you so, so much. We are at the £400 mark on this. So when I first set the page up, I thought I'll put it to £300. That seems like a fair. That was roughly what we made last year for the for our previous charity last year, but we've hit £400. In fact, past £400, and I'm hoping that I've set the target for £1,000. If we can hit £1,000 target, and with all the prizes that we've got coming up, I think this would be amazing. Now, there are some people who have donated who have listed themselves as anonymous, and I need to clarify, if it's anonymous when you donate, we can't send you the raffle prize because we can't. I mean, great if you do want to donate and be anonymous, that's fine. But we can't put a raffle ticket in for you because otherwise there's a lot of people called anonymous who have currently donated. So just bear that in mind when you do fill in the Just Giving with your details.
Amazingly, that's my brother's name. So
Oh, that's good because he's not allowed to enter anyway because he come under.
damn it. We also need something very important we need to say. The prizes are quite big. And we have to pay for the postage for that. So therefore, we are only restricting the raffle to the UK. I'm very, very sorry for the UK listeners, but we can't allow you to win because I can't send much prizes to you because, yeah, there's some good, very large prizes in there.
Which on that note, if you are an overseas donor, get in contact with me and I'll see if there's a way that we can cancel your donation if you don't want to enter. So just saying that out loud.
But yeah, so there's only one way to win these prizes, and that is going to Just Giving. If you look for MERP Christmas Special, if you just Google Just Giving MERP Christmas Special, it will come up as the top result. That's probably the best way to find it. Or you can also look for Just Giving and look for Sam Beecher Jones. Go on to there. This is raising money for Cash for Kids, which is a wonderful charity which helps less fortunate children, particularly around Christmas, where they will raise money to donate presents to those who are less do not get much at Christmas. So yeah, it's £5 per entry. Every £5 you put in will get you a raffle ticket, and as we say, you can win one of these prizes. Well, in fact, we will probably need to divide it up and work out how many categories of prizes we had done third, second, and first, but we possibly might be putting a fourth in. So yes, enter that way. It's a wonderful charity. You have until the 14th of December to get your raffle tickets, and then we will be doing a draw, which will be announced on the Christmas episode. And I want to say the 22nd of December, but part of me saying 21st, but it'd be the Christmas special anyway, in which we will announce the winners.
It is the 22nd, just to clarify.
It's the 22nd. And as we say, unfortunately, we can't post outside of the UK, so it will be limited to UK residents only.
So, James, that's all the news. What are we going to be talking about today?
Well, we were going to talk about one thing, but we'll save that topic for another time because this week there's been a couple of things that have come to light that just says to me that I think it's time that we discussed about being nice in the hobby. Let's be nice to each other. So let's have a chat about that.
Wilson? Wilson,
Yes, sir?
is everything set for His Majesty's arrival?
Yes, sir. The chefs are preparing the banquet, and his room is prepared.
And the model room as per his request?
Yes, sir. The models are all out on display.
Your Majesty, welcome to my humble abode. Yes, very good, old sport. Come on, let's play trains. Absolutely, Your Majesty. What's this? Something wrong, Your Majesty? These locos, they're so clean, so fresh, like they're straight out of the box. All cleaned up for your arrival. Oh no, my dear boy, you know what I want. I want it dirty. Dirty? Show me your dirty shunter. Okay, here you go. Oh yes, that's the stuff. Who made this filth?
It was Emperor's Path, Your Majesty.
I think I'll have to make a royal appointment myself, and still have some change to buy my new helicopter.
You can get your models weathered by Emperor's Path using just the airbrush for a light dusting, or alternatively, oil paints and airbrush to add that extra depth. Contact Emperor's Path on Instagram at emperors_path, or alternatively, emperorspathcontact@gmail.com.
Emperor's Path? I'm the only emperor around here.
Right then, Sam. This is very unprepared for us, really, but that's not new for the Model Rail Replacement podcast, to be honest. But yeah, this week, our friend Lucy had put up a post on Instagram, and she hadn't gone into details, but she had commented that she would not tolerate people saying nasty things attacking her or her friends within the hobby, and that got me thinking. Why does this happen? Because this is not the first incident we've sort of seen in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you recall, obviously, I sent you a link to a YouTube channel where someone had gone out of their way to be quite derogatory towards a layout that someone had filmed at an exhibition. And to me, I just can't understand this mentality of why you've got to keep putting someone down when all we're trying to do is enjoy a hobby.
It seems that people just almost, rather than actually doing the hobby, spend more time bringing other people's hobby down, which seems a bit, like you say, counterintuitive. Like, what? Why do you need to do that?
I don't know if sometimes I wonder if it's envy or boredom. I mean, some of it's got to be trolling, just for because some people just like to upset other people online just for the sheer hell of it. Um, but to me, I just don't understand the the reasons behind it. And it's curious because I think we were having a conversation like this over the weekend when we were talking to the lads at Revolution, and there was I mean it come up in conversation. Someone had been a bit mean spirited about someone's layout, and the comments that had come through, and that sort of reminded me. I was like, well, I said I went to an exhibition the other week, and there was a layout there that to me, in my mind, was not to the standard I'd expect to see at an exhibition. It wasn't the most detailed. It wasn't the best painted. It, in truth, wasn't really working. I think they only managed to get one track on it to go. But I didn't feel the need to tell the operator it was a load of rubbish because that's just plain rude. At the end of the day, they've given up their time to bring their layout in. So they've given up their day to show off their work. And the guy, he was proud of what he brought in. He was quite happy to talk about it. He was quite happy to joke about how he's had a terrible time at wiring it up. He was spent all of the evening before trying to get it working. He was, telling stories of how he'd gone and ballasted the track and how his friend had asked him, "How have you actually ballasted that?" And then he told us the story of his building technique, and then he had a laugh about it because his friend's like, "You shouldn't do it like that, mate." And You know what? It was clearly, he knew that it's a learning curve, and even from his stories, he's like, look, you can tell that I know that I need to do this, and this to make it better, and that's where we all started. I don't think there is many people in this hobby that could proudly, go back in time, grab hold of their very first layout, and bring it to the future, and tell us that this is the best thing they ever made. It's just we're all learning and advancing and sort of always improving ourselves. I know just simply from doing the round 200, starting on Dinrid at the start of the year, my new 009 layout, and what I was doing on there, to then stopping that, doing Dinrid, and Dinrid, I really put in, I wanted to put in pendant levels of detailing and effort into that. And now I've come back to the 009. There are bits on that 009 that I look at and go, I can do that better. I know I can do that better because I've just done it on the other layout. Yeah, I just don't feel the need to start telling someone that their layout's a load of rubbish just because you don't think it's good as yours.
As well. So obviously, this harkens back to one of our very, very early conversations that we had on the podcast, which is episode, I want to say episode 3 or 5, and it's titled "Was It Something I Said?" Where we talk about neurodivergence in the hobby and how sometimes the filter isn't necessarily always there, and how we have a lot of neurodivergent people. But this feels like it's now come around to the fact that some people are just being actively horrible to. Let's put it in the simplest terms: people are being horrible to other human beings, not because of something that they've said from a political point of view, something that they've said that's derogatory about other people. They're being horrible to other human beings about a model railway.
What's the point?
Yeah, it does feel, and it's that very, very much that thing of, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. Or when you go out with your mates, have a little bit of a. I was about to swear then. We're not supposed to swear on this show. Have a little bit of a chinwag with your friends, and you can sort of vent to them about what you think the imperfections might be. There's no need to go and just absolutely slag off someone's layout online directly to them on a YouTube channel or anything like that. Because what's the point? And I think people have said before, half the people who are making these complaints, they don't have anything to show that theirs is better than this. Half the time, they don't even have their own layout.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, this is the. So I'll go back to that one with on YouTube where the person's put the comments. Now I know I've dealt with this person before because they've been on my channel and have made comments on people's layouts that I've put in the exhibition videos that I'm doing. Talking to the person that owned the YouTube channel, they said, "Look, I've had a look. This person's only had the account for about 3 days," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm certain I've dealt with them before, but a different name." So obviously they get blocked by lots of people, and they just start a new account, and they just go into it again and again, the same old. I'm better than you. I mean, this. I mean, obviously you read the comments. This person is quite literally saying, "I'm better than you. You're rubbish. Your train set, your layout looks like a train set. Looks like a toy. Even like people that got highly detailed things. If you're using DCC, it's just a toy because it's not doing what a real railway system does." And you just get to the point, well, it's not a real railway, is it? It's a model, and it's supposed to be operated to simulate a real railway, but you don't need working axle counters and working signals and TPWS and AWS to make sure it's got a safety system on it, because if those trains bash into each other, nobody's going to die. It doesn't need that level of signaling on it. So to sit there and say someone's layout's rubbish because, I mean, in particular, this one's because the layout was an N-gauge layout and they've used the Daypole working semaphore signals. I think it's sort of based in the Lancashire, Yorkshire area, which I think did use lower quadrants in the early days off the top of my head. So they've obviously just, that word that we like to use in the hobby, they've compromised and they've used the GWR ones. Yeah, you can tell it's a GWR, it's not a GWR post. And if you know your signals, you would recognize it. If you don't know your signals, then it's just a signal that the arm goes down and the light changes on it. And for the operators, that's good enough for them to get and let's face it, if we tried making an operating working signal in N gauge, because I've tried doing it in OO gauge and that's hard enough. So to make something that small in N, sometimes, do you know what? Yeah, let's just buy a GWR signal and say it's it's a Lancashire and Yorkshire signal.
That makes more sense to me than having to do some. Because at the end of the day, people are doing it because they want to just have a good time and run locos and trains and stuff. And it comes back again to people just being horrible for the sake of it. And I had a conversation with somebody about how different hobbies do be malicious in different ways. Obviously, if you're new to the podcast, I used to play competitive Warhammer, Horus Heresy games, and all that sort of stuff. And it's weird how the thing is obviously you build, you paint, you play your army. What's difficult in that is that you get people who pick you up on you've not cleaned the flash off something correctly when you've been building it. You could have one of the best painted models at the show, but someone will pull you up on the fact that on your bolt gun you've not drilled the barrel out of it. It's like, oh, life's too short. Calm down. But then people pick on you for your painting, and then people pick on you for how you play and all that sort of stuff. And there used to be a phrase that used to be called WAC, WAAC, and it was sort of what people used to get called as a win at all costs player. And it tended to be someone who played the most strong, broken army list that they possibly could. And even then, people found a way of being horrible about it. And I don't know if it's because with model railways, everything is condensed into a much smaller thing of that people can tell you off for. It feels like it's more aggressive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Because we are all different walks of life in this hobby. We all have different skill sets. We all have different strengths. I know that my DCC knowledge is terrible. Reprogramming CVs and changing stuff like that, consisting, don't really know. My wiring is okay, but it's not the best. I do have to if I read something on how to do it, like when I learned how to use diodes, so I could just press one button to change 6-point motors. I learned how to do it, but again, I still didn't get it to work properly because I still didn't have the greatest amount of knowledge in electrics to realise that actually the thickness of the wire I'd used was too small, and therefore the electricity pulse was not powerful enough to move all 6-point motors over the distance I was requiring it to travel. I've learned that to improve myself on that. However, I think my strength is probably in my scenics, which is the part I never tend to get to because I can't get past the bits I'm not so good at, kind of thing. And it's the other way around. Some people are opposite. My dad, I think my dad's strength is his electronics. He understands all that DCC stuff. He's been building the layout and he puts the detection system in and he's got it all. We get it all wired up to so it does work to the signals. But I know when it comes to it, he'll probably ask me to do most of his scenics for him. Because he admits he's not an artistic person. He's more of an engineer, and that's his strength in the hobby. So yeah, to feel that you have the right to criticize someone on a subject because you feel you have the knowledge, it's just not there. Because again, your main focus and interest is 1980s to 1990s Network Southeast region diesels and electrics.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain if I start talking to you about Southern region steam engines and what sheds they were based in or something like that, you wouldn't really know if I was right or wrong if I just started spewing that information at you.
You are very, very correct on that one.
But if we started talking about Old Oak Common Shed, we both know that on that shed, the 50s used to live there. There used to be plenty of 47s around there. And, the HSTs would go there. And we both have that knowledge and understanding that we know what we're talking about, kind of thing. But it's all a learning curve. And so we're not experts on everything. We have similarities in what we do know and what we don't know. And, it's no one should have a superiority complex of, well, I know better than you, so I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. You can share the knowledge, but share it in the right way. Don't put somebody down for not getting their layout right.
It's doing it constructively, right? It's being able to do it so that you're being helpful rather than just looking, let's be honest, without looking like an absolute arse. That's the difference. It's being able to constructively say to someone, "Oh, let's put it in a layman's terms. It was that sort of thing in the early 2000s, it was all about the compliment sandwich, wasn't it? You start with two things that are really good, and then in the middle of it is something that they could work on. And it's trying to sort of see the brighter side of someone's thing. But also, it is very much a case of you don't have to say these things to people. Like, you are
Yeah.
actively choosing. It's not like you've got a gun pointed to your head where you're told you need to tell these people what's wrong with their layout or you are going to die. It is very much a case of these people are actively making a choice inside their head that they need to tell these people what's wrong, and that makes them a better human being.
And yeah, all you have to say is, start a conversation with, did you know? Did you know actually that your turntable there is a 50? I can see it looks about 50 foot, but I believe actually that this particular company used a 55-foot table. Oh, I didn't know that. There you go. There we are. We had a nice conversation. You passed on a bit of knowledge, and you didn't have to be mean about it. And what you could
Yeah.
also do, like you say, I was going to say the ruder term of the sandwich,
Well, yeah.
the hit sandwich. um, again, that turntable looks lovely. But did you know that this company actually used 55-foot turntable? And I mean, something like that. It's the way to approach things, and I don't know. I don't see why we all have to be enemies and not like each other. We're all in the same hobby. It's so bizarre because this is the other thing that what I wanted to talk about was I think that again, it's not just layouts that have been attacked over the last few weeks that we've sort of been brought to our attention. We also know that people have as well. I know Tom. I think Tom put up a post and someone had commented along the lines of we're scraping the barrel there for people to never hang out with, which was just plain rude.
Yeah.
I don't know which photo it was. It was probably us.
I'm not sure of this one. I'm maybe. Oh God, it's me.
he, he may have kept it from you.
Ah,
And I suspect from what Lucy had put on hers, I think those comments may have been similar. Because they all seem to have come out around Gets, and obviously there was, as we said, we had a lovely time and hung out with people that we hadn't had the opportunity to hang out with before, and so obviously there was a lot of photo opportunities. And again, I'm not saying it's like feeling like you're attacking me because I don't care, right? But what I do feel is that it doesn't matter who it was. It doesn't matter who. If Lucy's taken photos with certain people and someone's made comments on that, that's not on. Again, it's whoever Tom's taken photos from. Someone's made comments on that. You don't know these people. You've never met these people. You only know them through online, and you're only judging them through online. And we know, and we discussed this before, not every YouTuber is going to appeal to you. Not every YouTuber has a style that you're interested in, or they might not present themselves in a mannerism that you enjoy. You might find them tedious, because again, we're all different. We all have different personalities, and there's different traits that can, not everyone enjoys, and not everyone's not friends with everyone. And there's always going to be someone in your life that you find some people go, they're all right, and you go, I'm not really keen on them, kind of thing. You don't have to go out of your way to make nasty comments just because that person isn't your cup of tea. That just comes to bullying. Do you know
well,
what I mean?
yeah. In the short term, yes, it is just bullying, and I think that's what makes it feel like we're grown ups. Like that's the bit of this where you just got to be like, we are fully grown adults in this hobby. Why are we just attacking people? Like, there's no need for it in the slightest.
Yeah, it's not required. It's not on. Um, it's just childish, and it's not what this hobby should be about. Because it should be about supporting each other, and that's it's like I think Instagram's probably the best community to talk about because the Instagram community has always been praised as being the one community where everyone's really nice.
Yeah.
You very, very rarely find someone just on Instagram being horrible to everyone else and saying, well, that photo is rubbish, your layout looks rubbish, or I don't particularly like you, or why are you hanging out with that person? It seems a much more pleasant community. Why there feels a need in other communities to be more vicious about people? I don't know. If you don't like someone, just don't interact. Don't bother. You don't have to. You don't have to be their friend just because you saw the photo online or you saw the video online. If it's a YouTube video, just don't watch it. If you don't particularly like them, just don't watch. You don't have to watch it. I know the algorithm might suggest it and put it in autoplay, but just skip it. You know,
Good way of saying it.
it's bizarre. But at the end of the day, you know, we're all different people. As I said, we all have different skill sets.
I
Um,
think the thing is as well, what's really good about our hobby is how diverse as a hobby we are. And one thing I have said to people since starting this hobby, I think how accepted different race, creed, religions, orientation, all of the biggest spectrum of people who are in this hobby is incredible because that diversity wasn't necessarily in the war. And I'm not saying the Warhammer community is bad. I'm just saying that I don't remember there being as diverse a community in the Warhammer community when I was in it as there is for me at this moment in time in model railways. And I think that's something that we should celebrate how many different people of different backgrounds and things we have because there's a lot of communities that don't have that.
yeah, no, I think you're right. It's again, you look around model shows, they have definitely changed over the last, I mean, definitely since COVID. The attendance of who's going to these shows and which people are going has definitely changed. I see a lot more women go who are interested in railways.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think I think it's safe to say we are quite big in the trans community, which is it's lovely to see that people feel that they are can be comfortable enough to not only transition and but stay in the community, join in the community, whatever way you want to phrase it. But I think we're quite a big popular hobby within the trans community, which is it's also lovely to see, and it's also very welcoming to see that people don't judge that either. They're just like, hey, you're just another modeler. That's cool, Um, there's more, I think we've got more younger generation coming through. There's more teenagers and kids that are showing interest in railways, which is obviously, for a changing times where the modern day railway is not as interesting as probably it was back in the 1950s when you had all sorts of steam engines. You go stand on a platform and watch them snorting about all day. Um, it's great. Again, the age range is very diverse for the hobby because I'm sure, like you've talked about Warhammer. I'd imagine that the groups in your Warhammer were all of similar age range.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah, I think they were, especially when it came to sort of going to events and stuff like that. It definitely felt like I'd say everyone was about the same age as me, with a few exceptions here and there, but very much so. It felt like a lot of the people who were at the events I was attending all were of similar ages.
And
Whereas,
again, that's yeah. Whereas, yeah, like I say, yeah, as in railway modelling, we're all different age groups. I think the hardest part and probably what excludes the younger age groups is probably the cost of the hobby.
oh, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, if the people like trains, that's the most important thing. It shouldn't be who you are, where you come from, sort of thing. I felt like Cilla Black saying that. I've just aged myself very, very, very quickly.
How are you, Chuck?
For some reason, I don't know why. I imagined that Danny did a little fist pump when I said that. I don't know why. I've got a memory of Danny doing a Cilla Black impression. That might not be correct. I'm gonna have to check with him before this episode goes out. Um, but yeah, I mean, sometimes it also feels like people go for people who they believe are easy targets rather than looking at their ability and what they do in this hobby. Like, don't get me wrong, I've met some people who aren't necessarily my kind of team modelers, but also they're not necessarily nice people as well. So you kind of feel like
You just avoid them, don't you?
yeah, you what you do is you build your circle and you tend to sort of swim around similar circles to other people because you're like-minded people. You all make the same jokes. You like the same things. I think between me, you, and Tom on Saturday, like I said, we spent a lot of our time looking at the 009 stuff together. And then Steve clearly felt left out because he then had to buy 009 to start feeling like he could chat with us again.
Yeah. And I'll stop punching him after that in the arm to get to do it. So, then he fitted in.
But I think we sometimes forget that this hobby is a really good hobby. And it's the kind of hobby that previously, when I got into it, I went into this hobby because it was a solo hobby. I went into this hobby because I could build my train set at home, and it didn't matter whether I sat with someone else. But it is one of those hobbies where you can start going to shows, and you can start interacting with other people, and you can start building your communities. But you have the option of doing that and being able to sit at home and do it yourself, do it with people, join a club, start a YouTube channel, and you can do all of these things. And I think that's what makes this such a diverse hobby, because we've said in the past, somebody actually commented saying that they sent us a message saying that they know that we don't really do model railway clubs. And it's like, it's not that we hate them or anything. It's simply because they don't work for what you and I like to do. It's the distance thing as well. If I remember correctly, you don't have a club near you, do you?
No, I think the nearest is probably the Leamington Spa Club, which is still a good, I think, 20-mile drive. So it's a 40-mile round trip
Yeah,
to go out to it.
which can feel like a lot. It's one of those, by the time you've driven out there, done your little bit, and then driven home again, you sort of can feel exhausted. And I think sometimes if you drove to a club or a show, and then you just get people being negative towards you there and then, or being negative towards other people, that doesn't exactly set a good precedence either. So let's say, for example, and once again, it feels like I'm slagging this off but I'm just using this as an example. Let's say, for example, you have a club that's close to you, or a club that you deem to be within a decent distance that you could drive to. Let's say you go to that club, you get introduced, and you're almost left to your own devices to sort of look around, see what's going on. Now, imagine if, whilst you're at this club, you start seeing people slagging off other people's work, or saying, "Oh, so and so's done this. Oh, it's a bit crap," and all this sort of stuff. How's that going to make you feel as a hobbyist to be there for the first time in that club, to then be like, "Oh, actually, maybe I don't want to come to this club"? It might be the complete opposite. You might be like, "Perfect, rubbing your hands together. This is my kind of toxic situation that I love to get involved in." And if that's you, that's you. But there's no need. Like I said, you could sit and go and have a pint with your mates, or go and have a Diet Coke or whatever, or a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and you can have a little session where you say, "Here's something I don't like, and here's what I think." But there's no reason for you to be actively horrible to people's faces about it. I think that's where the dividing line is. Like, still try and be nice, but there's no reason to go and just almost walk up to someone at a show and tell them what's wrong. The amount of people have come up to me and had a go at me because, "Oh, I don't see the point in weathering," and stuff like that. I feel like that's one of the most common things that gets said to me at a show is, "Oh, I don't see the point in weathering, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, that's fair enough. You have this ability to keep on walking, sunshine. Like, you're
wrong, but
yeah, I mean,
carry on.
It's got to be dirty. I've got a rather tall West Country accented man in my ear telling me that he loves it dirty. But that's the thing, though, isn't it? People have actively made that choice to stand in front of someone who is sat there solely weathering, and their choice is chaos. They've decided, rather than just sort of carry on walking, which a lot of people do, and you can tell people don't necessarily enjoy weathering, or it's not their kind of thing, because they'll look at what you're doing and just carry on. But then you get the people who stand there and actively watch what you're doing for a few minutes, and I don't see the point in weathering. And it's like, well, why are you still here? Like, I'm not going to force you to like weathering. That's not me. That's not who I am. I'm going to tell you that I like weathering. This is what I do, and it's the part of the hobby I enjoy the most. But you're choosing to actively stand in front of me and tell me that you don't like it. It's like, what's the point? Save yourself
it's a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's not like you walk up to someone's layout that's got pristine, clean locos on it and go, "Why haven't you weathered these?"
I mean, I do, but I don't say it to them. I say it in my
head. But yeah, it's some people's choice. We know that some people do prefer that nice, clean, out of the box look, and that's how they like to keep it. And that's how they like to keep their models.
Yeah, exactly. We know there are plenty of people like that in this community who love it fresh, clean, out of the box.
I love how we turned this into an Emperor's Path ad.
This is exact. I wanted the entire podcast to be an Emperor's Path ad, but that's what I'm saying is people. It is that human thing where you could just keep your mouth shut and walk on.
Yeah,
but people
exactly.
choose to waste their own time and force an argument out of someone. It's like, just walk on. What's the point?
That's it. Because, at the end of the day, like I said, we're all different people, and there's many people in the hobby that are on the neurodivergent spectrum of one way or the other, and with that, some people do suffer from the condition that is rejection syndrome, which is when someone can feel very, very, very upset over the most slightest of things. It can usually be, say, someone's walking down the street that you wave and say hello. They didn't hear you. They didn't see you for whatever reason. And then it'll play in your mind for the rest of the day that you think they don't like you because they didn't wave back when it could have been a completely innocent situation. And that can be quite hard for people that do suffer from that. So when someone's trying to enjoy this hobby, and we do this hobby a lot for mental health to try and improve ourselves, and then someone has gone online or they've put a photo up or whatever they've done, and someone's gone out of their way to make a malicious, nasty comment, not only have you just upset someone, but then you could really get to them and, that can play in their mind and that could just completely put them off the hobby. And for what? What did you achieve? All you've done is just, hurt somebody that you didn't even know, that you didn't even need to hurt out of spite, envy. I don't know. Again, it comes to that conclusion of I'm not quite sure what your objective here is. But I think consideration is really needed for when you feel that you need to make those comments. Maybe you don't need to make those comments. Maybe you just keep them to yourselves because, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to enjoy a hobby. That's it. It's a hobby that we're trying to enjoy. And as I say, but lots of people do it to help their mental health, not to make their mental health worse. And I think some people maybe need to have a hard look at themselves and think, do I actually need to make that comment? Should we leave that there?
I think we've feel like we've got it off our chest now. And I feel like just be nice to each other. Like, that's the bit that let's summarize it in that. Just be nice to each other. Yeah, let's leave it there, James.
Let's leave it there. We got our point across. You don't need to make that comment. You can just keep it to yourself. It doesn't need to be aired out in the public.
You didn't need to tell me to my face though that my weather is crap.
Did. Really did.
Let's leave it. I'm your friend. Oh, that's good news. I did worry.
See, I've done the sandwich. I've made you feel happy about being a friend, but I've pointed out how terrible your weathering is.
Yeah, that's true.
You there? Oh, me? Do you like model railways? Yes, that's why I'm listening to the Model Rail Replacement podcast. Do you like comedy? No, that's why I'm listening to the Model Rail Replacement podcast. If you like model railways and comedy, head over to BugglesKellyStation.com. From Dad's Army to Will Hay, Laurel and Hardy to the island of Sodor. Add a comedy cameo to your model railway today. All right, thanks. Buggles Kelly Station. You won't be wasting your time.
There we are then, Sam. I think we vented and got it out of our system. What we needed to just point out to people that we feel we're necessary to do every sort of 2 seasons. We just have to remind you to be nice. But hopefully people will get the message.
Fingers crossed. Not necessarily always, but yeah.
Right. Shall we have a look at the exhibition diary?
Yes, let's.
Right then, the exhibition diary for the up-and-coming weekend of the 25th and 26th, but we're starting on the 24th. In fact, we're starting all the way over in Australia, because this is the British Railway Modellers of Australia, BRMA, Annual Convention 2025 at the Ascot Tamar Resort, 7 Waldorn Drive in Grindelwald.
There we are. That's for we're to go on international now. On Saturday the 25th, we have the Birmingham Model Railway Club annual exhibition. This is at the Ardeen Hall at Water Orton Road in Castle Bromwich in Birmingham, West Midlands. The 25th also sees the NMRA British Region Annual Convention at Milepost 80, Derby Conference Centre, London Road, Derby, Derbyshire. There's also the Hickley Model Railway Fans Hickley Model Railway Show at St Peter's RC Church Hall in Leicester Road in Hickley, Leicestershire. East Midlands 009 NG Modellers Group, the narrow gauge, now is having the Portland College Nottingham Road, Harlow Wood, Mansfield, Nottinghamshire. That's a show for that one. On the 25th, Merseyside and South West Lancs NG Group is having a group open day at the Corpus Christ Church Hall in Alfred Street, Rainford, Merseyside. North Eastern Borders Area Group EM Gauge Society Workshop Wise 2025, Stannington Village Hall at the Main Street in Stannington, Morpeth in Northumberland. We have the Felixstowe Area Engage Group Club Open Day at the Memorial Hall, High Road, Trimley St Martin in Suffolk. East Kent Model Railway Society at Whitstable is having the Whitstable Model Railway Exhibition at the Swancliffe and Chesterfield Community Centre, 19 St John's Road in Swancliffe, Whitstable, Kent. Coventry and Warwickshire O-Gauge Group is having an open day. This is on the 25th at the Church of Holy Cross, St Austell Road, Wycombe, Coventry, West Midlands. Aberdeen Model Railway Club is having the Aberdeen Model Railway Exhibition 2025 at Curl Aberdeen, Edy Walk in Aberdeen, Aberdeenshire. All weekend, 25th and 26th, and I do believe Sam's going to be at this, as is Laurie, Slough and Windsor Railway Society's MRX 2025 at the Burnham Park Hall in Windsor Lane, Burnham, Berkshire. On the 25th and 26th is the Cheltenham Great Western Modellers Group Cheltenham Model Railway October 2025 exhibition at St Margaret's Hall in Constantine Road, Cheltenham, Gloucestershire. We have the Modern Image O-Gauge 2025 exhibition all weekend at the Crewe Heritage Centre at Vernon Way in Crewe in Cheshire. Great British Model Railway Show 2025 exhibition at the British Motor Museum at Banbury Road in Gaydon, Warwickshire. There'll be the Clydeside Model Railway Club in Cathart Model Railway Exhibition in Pollock's Burgess Hall. Oh my goodness, they really stitched me up on this one. Pollock Shores Burr Halls 2025, Pollock Shores Road, Glasgow, Lanarkshire. I'm hoping I've got that right. Leeds Model Railway Society is having the annual Model Railway Exhibition at the Grammar School at Leeds in Old Woody Gates in Harrogate Road, Leeds, West Yorkshire. Hazel Grove Model Railway Society Model Railway Exhibition in Woodford War Memorial Community Centre at Chester Road, Stockport, Cheshire. Somerset Railway Modellers Club Taunton X 2025 at the Taunton School at Staple Grove Road in Taunton, Somerset. On the Sunday, Yorkshire Vintage Toy and Train Fair at Heckers Hill Mechanical Institute 93B, Stonehall Road, Eccles Hill near Bradford, Bradford West, Yorkshire. There's the Wyre Forest Model Railway Club's open day at the club's rooms, the first floor, 101 and Compton Hill in Kidderminster, Warwickshire. There's the CAKE, that's the CAKE Model Railway Group at Whitwell and Reepham Model Railway O-Gauge Day at Whitwell Station in Whitwell Road, Whitwell, Reepham, Norfolk. Central Southern Gauge Central Southern Gauge O Group Annual O-Gauge Model Railway Exhibition at the Arndale Centre in Hannam Road, Wimborne Minster, Dorset. And randomly, for the week after, just this one, on the 28th of October, Borders Model Railway Club Model Railway Open Day at the Landrinno Village Hall, B4393, Landrinno in Poise. That is all for this coming weekend and the following Tuesday. Right, there we are. That's all for this up and coming weekend. Right, this time, there's only one thing left to do. How can people find you?
If you want to get hold of me, you can find the good little Southern boy on Instagram at Emperors_Path. You can find me on YouTube at Emperors Path. You can find me marginally getting better at using Facebook, or alternatively, nope, that's it. Or alternatively, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. James, or how can they get hold of you?
Just life. Just find you in the street and talk to you there.
Yeah. Stop me and say hi. That'd be great.
Yeah. If you want to find me, it's Western Sigmund on YouTube and also on Instagram. And that's pretty much these days. But don't forget the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. It's everywhere. It's on Spotify and all those podcast thingies. So as you should know, because you're listening. But you can also find it on Instagram. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Facebook. And you can email us at modelrailrp@outlook.com. That's all for this week. Hopefully, we've been entertaining informative, and they've replaced your model railway, if only just for a little bit. I've been James, and with me's been Sam. Thanks for listening.
This service terminates here. Please ensure you take all of your personal belongings with you.
Hello, listeners. We've got some very exciting news. Do you want to be part of the podcast? Do you want to join the team? Well, an exciting opportunity has come up to allow you to be part of the Model Rail Replacement podcast. And here's Sam with the details.
This episode is brought to you by Patreon. A huge thank you to our Patreons for their support. If you'd like to help support the show, you can head over to Patreon and search Model Rail Replacement Podcast, where you can show your support and be part of the team.
Hurry, there's unlimited places.